Federal law enforcement agents are on standby in Seattle tonight. Now the governor says not even he was informed they were coming. Good evening. Welcome to King 5 News at 11. I'm Mark Wright.
And I'm Jessica Janner Castro. So despite that news, Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan is insisting tonight the Department of Homeland Security has no plans to intervene. King 5's Britt Moore is live for us outside the West Precinct near the federal courthouse with much more on this story. Britt.
You know, Mark and Jessica, it appears that local and state officials did not know that Seattle was going to be bombarded with federal agents until after the New York Times article was released. It's been a day of just back and forth about what's expected to happen this weekend and why federal forces are here in the city.
Mayor Jenny Durkan and Governor Inslee both say a federal tactical team is not needed to calm protests and protect federal buildings in Seattle. The New York Times is reporting that the Trump administration is on a different page and has deployed officers to be on standby outside of the city ahead of expected weekend protests. The federal response team is similar to those currently in Portland, where city leaders also said federal officers were not needed. Earlier today, Governor Inslee said the same is true for Seattle.
The federal government needs not to inflame this situation. We all want to have peace, and we want peaceful protests, which are legitimate and important in this moment. But we don't want to see things that would make the thing worse and throw gasoline on a fire.
In response to questions about whether or not federal agents are headed to the city, a statement from the mayor's office says the mayor spoke with acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf this afternoon. Acting Secretary Wolf committed to notifying the mayor and Chief Best if DHS were to increase their personnel in Seattle. Retired General Barry McCaffrey says he thinks it's all a political stunt.
The feds are already here. Marshal Service, FBI, DEA. They work in great harmony with the Seattle Police Department and the King County Sheriff's Department. So I think this is a deliberate attempt to have provocative instances, Portland, Seattle, maybe Philadelphia, maybe Chicago. It's a real outrage, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, just about an hour ago, King County Executive Dow Constantine called the move an unconstitutional use of force and then shared this message on Twitter for protesters saying, know your rights, stay vigilant, stay safe, and stay away from federal agents. Out here at the West Precinct, not too much action besides all of these barricades placed in front of the building here. But of course, this is something we will stay on top of throughout the next day or two. For now, we are live in Seattle tonight. Britt Moore, King 5 News.
Britt, thank you. So as we mentioned, those federal officers are coming because of recent protests in the Capitol Hill neighborhood here in Seattle. Last night, a group of about 150 people gathered at Cal Anderson Park. Some in that group went on a destructive crime spree. They broke into businesses, stole merchandise. Police say some of it was set on fire in the middle of the street. Seattle Police Officers Guild President Mike Solon says he doesn't want a repeat of what happened last weekend where 12 officers were hurt.
That continues. I'm not quite sure how much more we can take because we are not punching bags. We didn't sign up for this job to get hurt and maimed.
Police say no arrests were made last night and no officers were hurt.
Tonight, there is new legal action surrounding protests in Portland and the federal response. A judge ruled against the Department of Homeland Security. Federal agents are now temporarily banned from arresting or targeting journalists and legal observers, like attorneys from the American Civil Liberties Union, in fact, that are there, unless they have committed a crime. So this is just one of several lawsuits filed against the Trump administration since the federal presence ramped up there in Portland. About 2,000 people are out protesting again tonight. We've been keeping an eye on things, and so far, marches have remained peaceful.
This weekend, an ordinance takes effect banning Seattle police from using tear gas and other crowd control weapons. The city council passed it earlier this summer after violent clashes between police and protesters. Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best tried to block the ordinance, arguing she needed more time to retrain officers. In a letter to the city council tonight, Best said she is concerned about weekend protests after last night's destruction, saying, if I am not allowed to lawfully equip officers with the tools they have been trained to use to protect the community and themselves, it would be reckless to have them confront this level of violence.